President William Ruto's bloated Chief Administrative Secretary's lineup signals an extra burden on the shoulders of taxpayers. In the fullness of time, what could this portend? And also, where is the place of meritocracy in public service? That is one of the questions that we'll be asking on today's edition of Business Glide, your go-to show for matters that touches on business and economics and a comprehensive analysis on public policy. I'm yours truly, Richard Mwanjem. Indeed, always a pleasure to have you on board. And of course, to delve into this subject is none other. Herman Manyora, East Africa's top public scholar and most sought after political analyst in Kenya. Today, donning a polka-dotted red tie. What is the occasion, sir?
Just look smart once in a while.
Come on.
You know, jobs are being dished. Somebody could deny your job because he thinks you can't dress well. So you put on a suit and a tie.
For the much needed face value.
Yeah, so if the president is appointing people, he could also appoint me.
But this Azimio blue color. You could just miss out on the appointments.
Blue is a business suit.
Rigathi won't be fair to you.
No.
If he sees you in this.
Business suit. So Rigathi is my friend. Don't give me a job.
He's rewarding loyalist only.
I'm loyalist.
Really?
Yes.
We wait to see in the fullness of time. Let's go straight into today's conversation. Of course, most recent development is the nomination of Chief Administrative Secretaries who will serve under the public service. And let's just start from the magnitude of these nominations. You've seen an increased executive in recent years, more specifically for this docket of CAS, from 23 to now 50 nominees. From just that number, it is worrying that the president hasn't yet get done with appointing people into government, but already blotting the number of CSS, the number of chief administrative secretaries. In the fullness of time, now that we are grappling with a balloon in wage bill, are you afraid that as long as there are still people, political loyalists and rejects out there who have not been awarded, this won't be the last one that we are seeing the president going overboard in terms of appointments?
First of all, I don't know whether that list is genuine or not. We've seen several doing the rounds. My initial reaction is that it doesn't look genuine, merely on the basis of the number. 50 is rather crazy.
Yeah.
Coming from a president who campaigned on the platform of lean government, on a platform of working for the people instead of working for the wadosi. Nataka tushughulikia vijana wapate kazi ama tutengeze vyeo ya
wakubwa.
So I find it difficult to believe. But like you say, the trend is set from the appointment of the cabinet secretaries
to now CAS.
Thereafter principal secretaries, and now this.
And ambassadors are waiting.
You can see the trend is when we get to the full-blown appointments in the diplomatic service, ambassadors and high commissioners, and when we get to filling the slots among government prostatals, state corporations, some Americans will say you ain't seen nothing yet.
There's more to come. Even at this hour when people have actually fielded themselves ready to go and meet with destiny on Monday, 20th March.
You know,
don't you think this is actually adding insult to the injury?
Let us not blame the president. There's something that happens to people when they get into office.
Which is?
It's that some people lose touch with reality.
After campaigning on the platform of reality with the people.
Yes. So I think it would be unfair for us to blame the president. I think this is what happens to almost everybody who gets into office.
But then again, the president has men and women around him, thought leaders who are to advise him. Are you saying those men and women it's more of psychopathy and not telling the king that he's naked?
Two things. One, it's not true that everybody is amenable to advice. No, it's not true that everybody wants advice or at least seeks advice. And much worse, it's not true that everybody who is advice take advice. But from the very general observation, Kenyan politicians and other leaders don't seem to have space for advisors. So in the place of advisors, what our leaders are sycophants, court poets. They are necessary to make life sweet kidogo, to sing for the king, send him to sleep. But surely you must have advisors. I don't think our leaders, and I'm not talking about the president, it's across board. Wherever you go, people don't seem to know the value advice.
Very well.
Either they ignore it when they are given, or they don't look for it at all.
Or understate its significance.
So there's no way the president would be doing the things he's doing at the time he's doing them, in the manner he's doing them, with the possible impacts, if he really had advisors.
Absolutely true.
Yeah, I do not think anybody with advisors would do the things the president has done. And if he were to do them in the manner he has done them, and with the timing, I doubt.
Very well, sir. I mean, we've seen healthy democracy really potent, impressive growth for many countries. And every other election period, Kenyans go to vote there so that their will can be respected. If you look at the trend for the last around 20 years, we are seeing decreased number of registered voters by the time, only because they feel every time they vote, their vote doesn't really count. When the president appoints people who are not elected into office, the voters, the electorate turn them down. They are more political rejects and political poll losses. Now you appoint them into these positions where now they'll still manage the resources on behalf of every other citizen. Don't you think this is the utmost betrayal a president can do to its people? If you're going to pick, say, someone who's failed as a governor, now get him in charge of the entire ministry. And you're just one. It cuts across. If you look at the nominations for the CAS, nearly half of them were political rejects in the last elections. What message does this send to the electorate, even in the near future electoral cycles?
We must agree, surely, that losing an election doesn't turn you into some useless thing or a reject that Kenyans say. And therefore, anybody, whether they have lost elections or not, are still Kenyans. And if they are qualified for a job, they can still be given. And it won't be Kenya alone doing it. It's done across the world. You know, you saw Obama appointing Hillary Clinton, had lost against him. It is John Kerry. And so this is normal everywhere across the world.
But what about these people who are appointed?
Perhaps the point you want to raise is, what is the mood in the country? Because you have to respect the mood in the country. You have to respect public feeling and public, thinking and public opinion. You have to respect that. I think the public opinion and public mood is against that. Against that, especially in terms of the numbers, in terms of the promises made and now completely ignored, in terms of the things people said they would not do and now doing them in haste and with haste. So anybody who would be benefiting from sound advice, I don't think they'll get the CAS on board. Not even one.
Not even
now
one.
Here we are going beyond Uhuru. And even in terms of law, I think even the previous administration had asked for 23. Now they are more than double. So those things Kenyans feel they translate to impunity. So have I answered your question?
Yeah, you have. But then again, how does it sit for you when some of these nominees, some of them must still have impending court cases, much as they have not been declared to have committed them, but they're in the court corridors following up with their cases. When you nominate them into this position at such a time, especially to critical dockets, we've seen some of them still have court cases, matters to do with the billions in the prison service. Majority of them in there have been implicated in graft and so forth. Does this really portray that merit has no place in public service, by and large?
I think we have no place for merit. When it comes to integrity, we decided Chapter 6 was a nuisance and we throw it out of the window, right from 2013. And we must live with the consequences. But allow me to say this, because I'm happy millions of people watch us. Allow me to say this. We die to go outside to those countries and take all manner of pictures and photographs. Somebody has sent me about 90 pictures of themselves in Dubai. Tall buildings, where things are working.
A public servant.
Yeah, but you see, you spoil your country, you mess your country, then go looking like sheep in other people's bench. And the people are there, they know we are fools, we are going for those picture sessions.
Benchmarking.
In their countries. You see, those countries are where they are because they don't do these things we do. They know that perception is very, very important in public matters. They know matters of integrity are very important. And the common saying that Caesar's wife must be beyond reproach. So that if you aspire to be into public office, you are not doing your things, you want to work for the public at those high levels, surely mere mention, mere suspicion is enough for you not to go. Because while that suspicion hangs on your head, you're doing great disservice to your country. Great disservice. Great disservice. Being a minister, being a principal secretary, member of parliament, CAS, whatever these things are, governor, with all these things hanging on your head, you are ruining the future of your grandchildren. Because you have no country. There can never be a country where leadership is a questioned leadership. There's no organization, there's no society, there's no country that can progress without proper leadership. And you cannot talk of leadership where corruption and all these other things are hanging on people's heads and they are purporting to serve the people. You can't. It doesn't work. That's why you see very serious people in America, in Europe, Japan, they just resign. Not because they are guilty, because they know what it means for you to continue serving when people are thinking you raped somebody. You may not have raped anybody, but the whole country thinks you have raped somebody, a woman, and you stay put. You are a minister. You are killing your country. And as your country goes down, you are destroying whatever dream your children could have. You know, sometimes we operate as if after us there is nothing. It's unfortunate that many people don't even think about the people who will come after them, including their own children. It's very tragic, you know that, eh?
Not seen beyond your nose.
Yeah, with the things we do, we would not be doing these stupid things we do if we had any love for our children and their grandchildren. We wouldn't, because how would you destroy a country? And then you want to leave your children in that country and their children. Unless you are an idiot.
Or after accumulating wealth enough to sustain the generations.
Money you are stealing, like I've said, even the children don't need it. If you've stolen 10 billion, if you put 10 billion in an account, who needs that money? Your children don't need that money. And those who need it will just go and drink and do all manner of things and be on drugs. So are you robbing the public so that your children may do drugs and drink 24/7? What you do if you are in a position of influence? Try to bring up your children. Try to give them the best education they can get. Try to put them through apprenticeship. Let them, if your son is doing law, let him work under Grand Mullah, under Orengo. Tell Orengo, this is my son, this is my daughter. I want her to come out to be like you in future. Nurture my daughter.
Passing down the ladder.
Yes, but not to steal money. She doesn't need that money. She wants to be a professional lawyer. She wants to be the best dentist there was in this town. She wants to be a good nurse. She wants to be a successful businesswoman. She doesn't want you to steal for her.
Very well.
But Kenyans don't seem to understand this thing. That's why in developed societies, children don't want anything from their father. If you give them, they say, a loan. If somebody has gone through college, they want to start a job, they have nothing, they take a loan from the mother to equip their house, take an apartment, furnish it. The first salary, they begin repaying the mother. A colleague of mine in the university, a lady from Germany, been working with her. Her children pay rent.
Brilliant.
For staying with her. They don't want to stay free. It's the mother's home, the father's home, the parents' home, Runda. But there were some extra buildings in the compound. Kijana anakaa analipa mama yake rent.
Brilliant mind.
Those are the children we want to bring up. But if we think we are going to steal for our children,
to splash opulence,
they don't even need it.
Rightly put there by Herman Manyora. Today, talking all matters meritocracy in public service. Of course, this comes in the backdrop of the recent nominations of at least 50 members, citizens of Kenya, into positions of chief administrative secretaries. We wait to see whether they'll be all approved by Parliament and what portends for the public service in the near future. Time now for Fan of the Week. We go all the way to Nakuru. Milka Chebet.
Milka Chebet, thank you very much from Nakuru for joining us. Please bring more to be part of this wonderful family.
All right, and you don't want to miss other productions from Nairobi Review. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we are live. And of course, next week, there'll be a lot of content coming in that you need to know. Matters to do with energy sector. We'll be looking at the scandals they are in and what the nation can do towards resorting matters that are belittling the energy industry in this country. Matters to do with oil, you don't want to miss on those editions of Business Glide. Until then, my name is Richard Mwenja. Always a pleasure.